Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Drew Ramsey. I'm on the editorial board with Medscape Psychiatry and assistant clinical professor of psychiatry at Columbia University. We have a really special guest. I'm here with nutritionist Jessica Bays, who's at the University of Technology in Sydney, and she is the lead author of the AMEND trial. The AMEND trial is our most recent trial in nutritional psychiatry, finding that giving or helping individuals eat a Mediterranean diet can be helpful in the treatment of depression. Jessica, welcome to Medscape.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for coming on board and helping all of us as clinicians understand some of your research and some of what is suggested by your research that young men can change their diet and it helped their depression. Tell us a little bit about the AMEND trial.
Yeah, so the AMEND trial was a 12-week randomized control trial in young men 18 to 25 years old that had diagnosed moderate to severe clinical depression. They had a poor baseline diet, and we got them to eat a healthy Mediterranean diet, and it improved their symptoms of depression.
It was a remarkable trial, Jessica. If I recall, you helped individuals improve the Mediterranean dietary pattern score by 8 points on a 14-point scale. That led to a 20-point reduction in their Beck depression inventory. Is that, tell us what that looked like on the ground.
It's a huge improvement. Obviously, they were feeling much better in the end in terms of their depressive symptoms, but their energy, their sleep, their quality of life we measured as well. So many of them at the end were, a score cut off that sort of suggests no depression or in remission.
72 people were in your total trial. So 36% in your intervention arm went into full remission.
Yeah, which is just amazing.
It also follows up the SMILES trial, which a little bit of a different trial. You had 2 nutritional counseling sessions. The SMILES trial had 7. But in the SMILES trial, 32.3% of the patients went into full remission when they adopted a Mediterranean style diet. Jessica, what is the secret that you and your team know? I think a lot of clinicians, especially clinicians who are parents and have teens, are kind of shaking their head in a little disbelief. They've been telling their kids to eat healthy. And what do you guys know about how to help young men change their diet?
Prior to starting this, when I would say this idea to people, everyone would say, great idea, no way you're going to get depressed young men to change their diet. Not going to happen. So we went to them and we asked them and we said, okay, we're going to do this study. What do you want from us? What resources would you need? How many appointments would you like? What's too little, too many? And really got their feedback on board when we designed the study. And that obviously paid off. We had a really personalized approach. We sort of met them where they were at. We gave them the skills, the resources, recipes, meal ideas, all of those sorts of things, so we could really set them up to succeed.
You were telling me earlier about the few of the dietary changes that you felt made a big difference for these young men. What were those?
Increasing the vegetables, the olive oil, and the legumes were probably the big ones that most of them were really not doing beforehand, and were really able to take on board and make significant improvements in those areas.
These are really some of the top food categories in nutritional psychiatry as we think about how do we help our efforts to improve mental health by thinking about nutrition and nutritional quality and nutritional density. And certainly those food categories, nuts and legumes, lots of plants, lots of olive oil, that's really what helps get us there. You also gave the students a food hamper. If you were going to be in charge of mental health in Australia and America, and you got to give every college freshman a little box with a little note, what would be in that box?
Oh, I'd want to put everything in that box. It'd be
Put
full
everything.
of, brightly colored fruits and vegetables, different nuts and seeds, legumes. It'd be full of recipes as well, and ideas of how to cook things and how to prepare really delicious things. It'd be full of different herbs and spices and all of those things to get people really excited about food.
And as part of your enthusiasm and excitement around food, did the young men kind of pick up on that and begin to adopt some of that, sort of shifting their view of how they saw the food and how they saw it as related to their depression?
Hopefully. I do think energy is infectious. So I'm sure, that played a role somewhat, but trying to get them excited about food, it can be really quite daunting, thinking I've got to change my entire diet and I've got to learn to cook and I got to go out and buy groceries and I don't even know what to do with a piece of salmon. So trying to get them curious, interested, and just reminding them that it's not all or nothing, just small changes, give it a go and have fun.
You also have a unique aspect of your research that you're interested in male mental health, and that's not something that's been very researched. Can you tell us a little bit about what these young men were like in terms of coming into your trial as depressed young men?
The context of COVID and the pandemic, and mental health was kind of at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. And when they joined the study, saying, "Oh, I've never seen anything like this before. I've never seen myself represented in research. I wanted to contribute. I wanted to add to that conversation because I feel like we are overlooked."
I love hearing that, this notion that maybe young men aren't quite what we think they are, that they are wanting to be seen around their mental health, that they can learn to use olive oil and to cook, and that they can engage in mental health interventions that work. We just need to ask, give them some food, encourage them, and it makes a big difference. Jessica Bays, thank you so much for joining us and sharing some of your research, everyone. It's the AMEND trial. We'll drop a link to the trial so you can take a peek and tell us what you think. Please, in the comments, let us know what you think about this notion of one, helping young men and men with male depression through nutritional interventions, and two, take a peek at the great work that Jessica and Professor Sibrit from the University of Technology in Sydney have published and put out into the scientific literature for us all. Thanks so much, Jessica. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.